Our conversation is with presidential aspirant and PLP party leader Martha Karua. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning.
It's good to have you in studio.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I know it's not the same one you're used to. This one is slightly different.
Yeah. I'm just wondering.
What's
happening?
Yeah.
Just a few changes, but it's good to have you. Before we get into the conversation, Phalaris will share the quote of the day with you. You can say if it speaks to you, if you agree or disagree.
Okay.
Karibu sana. Today's quote is courtesy of Muhammad Ali, and a very famous quote of his that says, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee." How does that speak to you?
I think it's just talked of, that you can use soft power, but when push comes to shove, then you bring out all your arsenal. Yeah.
I like that.
I like that as
It's true.
well.
And it's true. I think he's, very calm, graceful until it's time to strike. And then then it's time to strike.
Pack a punch.
Like a bee.
I quite like it. And, if the events of yesterday had not happened,
Right.
our conversation today with you would have been completely different.
Yes.
But it's only fair that we start from what transpired yesterday. You trying to get into Uganda and, being first of all held at Entebbe airport and then coming back, they allowed Kanjama to go in. What transpired? What reasons did they give for you barring your entry into Uganda? And does this then mean you will never get to visit Uganda again? What
I
does
will
it mean?
visit after Museveni. He's not president for life.
Walk us through, actually,
Yeah.
what happened yesterday as soon as you got to Entebbe, or even if it preceded getting there.
Yeah.
Let me say this, that immigration, you go through immigration individually, not as a group.
Yes.
So I was cleared and I entered. And I waited at the baggage area for President Kajama and Lawyer Gisheru to be cleared.
Okay.
As I was waiting, and as Gisheru was coming in because he was immediately behind me, the security officer, a very pleasant lady who had cleared me, came looking for me and said that she has been advised that she ignored notes that were an alert that was on me. And she said, therefore, her supervisor wants to see me. I followed her and I told Gisheru, come with me. And we went to the supervisor. Then I told Gisheru to get out and get Kajama also so that we don't lose each other.
Right.
And the supervisor said, there appears to be an issue, but he would like me to see his boss. He called somebody else, who then said, I need to see his senior. Then we now go to a guy who told me he's the principal immigration officer at the airport. And he asked them, what are the notes saying? And one of them said, entry prohibited. He told them, go and actualize that. So that's all. He's not talking to me, he's talking to them. So we leave, you see, and we go back to their office. It's like they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm taken to an office where now I'm given forms to fill. And the information they are asking is the same information on my passport. My name, my what. I told them I'm not going to duplicate information that is already with the passport you're holding. Go photocopy, Then they're also saying, and I told them, you're the ones deporting me. I'm not deporting myself. If there's any paperwork, it's your paperwork, not mine.
Yeah.
So I asked the reasons. They said they want to interrogate me. I told them I'm not going to be interrogated. By then I had already released Kanjama and Gisheru and told them to proceed to court. So they said they wanted to interrogate me. I told them I will not cooperate. They have not told me why they are holding me. I know the constitution and the laws of Uganda. I want to be told what the problem is. Then we can begin there. If there's an offense they are investigating, I want to know it. And I will not be investigated without my lawyers. Okay? So back and forth. And I'm holding my phone, I'm trying to do something on it, then one of them just snatches it, So I ask, what gives you the right to take my property? What law are you using? Because if I'm being deported, you do not become entitled to my property. I told them there's a Kenya Airways on the runway. Put me on it, the flight I came with. But back and forth it went. So eventually I was put on the 2 o'clock. But in between that, we have returned now to the principal immigration officer, and I'm asking him why he's allowing his boys to behave like bullies and to snatch my phones, because they snatched the first one. They went away, left me in a room with a lady. I removed a second phone, my second phone, and it started using. I didn't think they were anywhere near. I don't know from where they saw. One just came in like lightning and snatched it. So my 2 phones. And now after the back and forth again, we go to the immigration officer. He's sort of civil and almost apologetic, and I'm telling him I will still not cooperate, because if that's where they had begun, maybe we would have had a conversation, and they needed also to tell me what I had done, the offense. So as we were talking, he said they wanted to take me to a holding room. That means the cell. In the whatever. I told him, I'm returning with Kenya Airways. They have a lounge. Why don't you release me to the Kenya Airways lounge? He just saw an escape, and he immediately called the Kenya Airways manager, and I could hear him telling him that he has a high-level official from Kenya. He will not say the name. He will see for himself when he comes. And I heard the manager tell him, I know her. She's my friend. So the Kenya Airways owned me, and I'm really grateful for that. They came for me, took me to the lounge. But the Ugandans sent their security officers to come and man the lounge. They were inconspicuous. I didn't even know they were there. It's a Kenyan lady who was talking to me, and when I told her, you know how passengers talk in the lounge? When I told her I was being deported, she told me, no wonder, I've seen those guys there. So I said, are they here? She told me yes. So they had covered the lounge in case
you tried to what?
But where do you go without your passport, without your phones? The whatever has not come in. So that's the story.
At this point, do you have your phones, or do they still have them?
No, they stayed with my phones for 3.5 hours. When I'm on board the flight is the time an officer is following me, calling. I refuse to respond. Then he said, he came while still behind me, he said he has my phones. I told them they are contaminated. I will not touch them. I refuse to take them. Because 3.5 hours, I know they had already mined information from my phones. I do not know what they have spread on my phone, which can be harmful to me. I just said I'll not take them. I left them with them, but I'll be suing.
So your phones are in Uganda as we speak? Okay.
And your passport, when did they give it back to you?
It was given to the Kenya Airways manager.
Oh, wow.
So he's the one who gave me at the boarding gate. He was instructed to give me at the boarding gate. And he allowed me, he used his phone to let me call my agent to change my ticket, and to also call family and tell them I'm fine.
Let me just, speaking to you now as a lawyer, first of all, I'm incredibly sorry. This is the second time that this has happened within the East African community to you and to other Kenyans. And it's a worrying trend that we'll get into in just a moment. But let me begin with speaking to the lawyer and the senior counsel. What grounds does any country have within the East African community to deny entry to an East African citizen?
I would have to have committed an offense. I am duly licensed, special license to practice law in Uganda for purposes of representing Besigye and Lutale as lead counsel in the case. I've been doing that for over 1 year, since January 2025. I go in, sometimes I stay overnight, sometimes I go for the day, like yesterday I was going for the day. And yesterday I was not going as a lawyer. I was actually going to observe the case because I'm not licensed for the Lukwago case. I would have to apply afresh. So I was going as an observer to give him moral encouragement and also to find out from him anything that relates to the case I'm in. And they were not able to give any reason. Even the paper I got saying that I've been deported and they've declared me persona non grata. Persona non grata is a decision. Where are the reasons for the decision? They have none because they offered none. Remember, what Uganda did is against their law, against their constitution, against the East Africa Treaty, you know, which is basically to allow movement of people services and goods. I'm offering a service for which I'm licensed. But by the way, we had been warned 2 months ago that the authorities in Uganda do not want Karua and areas Lukwago. They meet the former Lord Mayor of Kampala, who is now under
arrest.
Under custody. That they do not want us in the Besigye case. They want us out. Besigye should hire other lawyers. They want to choose lawyers for Besigye, and they decided Karua and Lukwago should not be in. Look, we took it lightly. Look at how Lukwago was arrested, detained, and now being persecuted.
He's been charged for what, treason?
Misprision of that, he concealed treason.
Okay.
As a lawyer, let's assume that you have even useful information. You are covered by client, lawyer-client privilege.
Yes.
Plus, if indeed they had reasons to charge him, why didn't they charge him all those almost 2 years? The case has been pending. So that indication that the authorities wanted us out of the case is what is playing. This is lawfare, and it is political persecution. It's also clear that Besigye will not get justice in the Ugandan courts. And I want to say emphatically, the people of Uganda are not the ones acting. It's the authorities in Uganda and in Tanzania personalizing the state.
Yes.
The treaty allows us free movement. And that's why I would not wish for our brothers from Tanzania and sisters and Uganda to be mistreated. Kenya must obey the law and must stop this game of dalliance with abductions and cross-border abductions, which
just
is what landed Besigye where he is in the first place.
Before you came on air, actually, and when we were discussing this as part of our newspaper review, because it's it's the headlines, the complicity, to me, what reeks of complicity by the Kenyan government is told by the silence. And this is not the first time. When it was Atuhira and Boniface Mwangi in Tanzania, when it was yourself also being denied entry in Tanzania, and Bob Njagi as well, when now it's Uganda, the fact that you don't hear anything concrete come from our Foreign Affairs Ministry or from the PS or from the President, that to me speaks of something complicit. What game do you think is afoot here? What kind of, I don't know, it looks coordinated.
I think I said from the very start when I went to represent Besigye, if as citizens we do not join hands and fight back, there's a game these three rogue states, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, are playing. And we would have seen more cross-border abductions and maybe disappearances. Because for Besigye, had it not been leaked that he was being held by the military, he could have been disappeared completely, and they would have denied. Kenya would have said they don't know where he is. Nobody would have known he is in Uganda. They would have been saying he disappeared in Kenya. And there's been that. You remember J.M. Kariuki, they were saying he has disappeared in Zambia. So it is very, very dangerous, and we've got to join hands as citizens in Kenya to resist any violation of the law by the administration, to resist cross-border abductions, and thumbs up to Kenyans. You remember they helped to prevent the abduction of Maria Sarungi. And Kenyans have fought back. The noise in Kenya caused the release of Bob Njagi, for which we thank former President Uhuru Kenyatta, because it is said he's the one who communicated directly to get Bob Njagi and his colleague released. So yesterday, I must be upfront and say the ambassador to Uganda, the Kenyan ambassador to Uganda, Ababu Namwambwa, called me. He called me when I was almost getting on the plane, and he regretted the incidents. He's not in Uganda. He said he was out of the country, but he said he promised that he will ask for a formal communication. Let's wait and see.
Did he say had he been in touch with the Foreign Affairs Ministry, with the Interior Ministry in Uganda? Did he say anything?
He said he will get in touch, I think, at that stage. And I know that my colleagues here in Kenya, opposition colleagues, I now learned had reached him.
Okay.
Yeah, he had several calls from my colleagues being asked, what is it you're doing? Foreign Affairs also had several calls from my colleagues. And I'm really grateful. My colleagues showed love, Kenyans showed love, and there are those who came to meet me at the airport, including the president of East African Law Society, Rama Abubakar, and also President Kajama, because he was still in Uganda. He sent a council member to come and receive me. And of course, my party leaders, my party members and friends. I came back to a very warm welcome.
Great
Not to forget the
there.
press. Yes.
Quite like it.
Yeah.
And what does this mean for Besige's case, you being the lead counsel, in terms of seeing its clear suppression by the Ugandan authorities for you not to represent him? What does it mean for his case?
Not just me. They've also taken his key lawyer in Uganda, Arias Lukwago.
Yeah.
So it means they want to choose lawyers for Besige.
Okay.
Besige cannot get justice in Uganda. And it just demonstrates that this is a politically motivated case. It's a lawfare. And we do not know which of the other lawyers in Uganda they are going to pounce on. Yeah, so no fair trial. Yeah.
Does this mean, again, Mother Karua will never find herself trying to get into Uganda or Tanzania? Because
as Kagwanja asked them yesterday, because I'm a leader who can very well become president of Kenya if Kenyans allow. How are they going to relate? Because they cannot personalize the state. They need relations. I'm a senior leader. If I'm not the president, I'll be a key person in government.
Correct.
How are they going to relate with our government? So they have to rethink their foreign policy. And even in Kenya, stop personalizing the state. It's a shared space. Tomorrow you are there, the next day you are not. And even Museveni, who has stayed for 40 years, his life will end one day, like all of us. You see? There will be post-Museveni Uganda. There will be post-Samia Suluhu Tanzania. There is going to be post-Ruto Kenya. Hopefully next year. Yeah, and it could be sooner. I mean, all of us can depart anytime.
There's that brings me now to another worrying thing, which is the dissent. The coming down on dissent very violently has become now a theme across the region, and we're now approaching June 25th. And there's calls for commemorations from different parties. Then there's also a worry about the politicization of it, which is a lot of young people are just like, you know what, the political class needs to keep off, because this did not begin with them. It began as just a call against the finance bill, and it unfortunately left us with over 60 lives lost. But as we're coming into June 25th and the commemoration of it, let me begin by asking what you think about the compensation framework, and then now we'll get into the politics of it.
I'll begin with the alleged politicization.
Okay.
I was requested, and every leader you saw was requested by some of the parents you saw us work with. They requested us to take them to the police to present their petition, because last year when they went alone, they were not even allowed in. So they asked us to accompany them. And because of that, they got the audience. They have asked us to be with them on 25th. So we are not forcing ourselves. It was a request from the parents, and we cannot refuse such a request. We are also parents, we are Kenyans, we are all hurt by the shedding of innocent blood. But you're right, the state signature response to dialogue is shooting to kill, is maiming, is hurting people. So I have listened to the statements by William Ruto and his administration, Murkomen Kindiki and others, saying that it is okay to demonstrate, but they will not allow goons. For me, the way I interpret that, they are warning us that goons will be waiting, because they own the goons. They introduced goonism as a response to the Gen Z protests. And those goons have been depicted by mainstream media and social media, working with the police, entering police vehicles, being given cover. And we now know that even attack on the OSINTs, on the seminar to do with discussions to do with the finance bill,
budget,
that some of the goons were plainclothes officers. So the state owns goons. And this administration is looking to use that opportunity, as they have been doing, to cause looting of select shops of the people they don't like. Not all shops are looted. It's targeting. They target people. They kill. And sometimes innocent bystanders are hurt. So we have to weigh that and see how to make Thursday a success while denying them the opportunity, their bloodthirsty selves, from drawing innocent blood once again, and an opportunity for them to damage people's businesses, people they deem to be, against them.
What does that look like? Because June 2024 started exactly like that, with people emphasizing how peaceful they are. Water, flag, firimbi, that was it. But still ended the way it did. So now I'm wondering how to ensure that we do this well. It's a proper commemoration. It honors the 60 lives, but that the goons are kept off, and that the police are also working to protect citizens, not the other way around.
Those are things on the table, and I do believe that there'll be further communication,
On the same.
The police expect a route to be given by those who gave them notice, who are the parents who lost children, who are the relatives of those people who were lost, their brothers, their fathers, mothers, and other relatives, and actual victims, some of whom we saw speak at the memorial service that we had on Sunday. So I am not a spokesperson for that organization. I would hold my horses and wait for communication from them.
And just wait to see. I think I will always go back to referencing the femicide marches and how they've been successful. And it's because, one, they lack, the matter is not politicized. And the second, we introduce politics to a matter, then that's when we see the state and the security organs respond in the way that they do. Because, again, there's a certain fear, but also it doesn't play to the optics of what it is they would want.
I think there you are missing a point. The Gen Z protests of 2024, they were saying they are leaderless. You didn't see any politician on the street. Even when they were marching to parliament. Who politicized them? Who imported violence into them? The police. They were the best protests we've ever seen. And I'll tell you that even the Azimio protests were peaceful, were joyous like a carnival, until police introduced violence. In Kenya, it's police, a section of police who riot on the streets, who import violence. It's hired goons who take violence to the streets, not the marchers. So there's not a question of politicization. If anybody is politicizing, it's William Ruto, his deputy Kidiki, and the Minister for Internal Security. They are the ones issuing threats and giving a signal to their goons that you are employed on that day. We want you to come and disrupt. That is the signal they are giving. And I'm telling Kenyans, this is dangerous. You don't want goonism, then Ruto must go and his administration. We must stand together. Get an administration that Kenya deserves.
It sometimes feels like we're playing not catch up, but we have to stay one step ahead. Because when you organize a peaceful protest, then it's infiltrated with goons. So then you learn, okay, maybe protesting might not beat. You try something else, try social media, try this, try that. But you can't always, you shouldn't have your rights limited. When you think of an ideal June 25th, just before we go into a break, June 25th, 2026, commemorating 2024, what does the police service do and what do Kenyans do for the best possible outcome?
The best possible outcome, those who want a procession should, be given the security to do so, those who want to lay wreaths, those who want to hold memorial services, candle lighting. It should be that way. This is our country. We cannot even mourn or remember our departed in peace. This has been the most violent regime in the history of this country. Independence Kenya.
I'll actually come back to that because it's a statement that I've heard, you're not the first person to actually say that, from people who in the 90s were fighting against the one-party state in the...
You're looking at one of them.
Yes, yourself.
And I keep telling the Gen Zs, I was then a Gen Z, don't think that we were born at this age.
And so you're not the first person to say this, and it jars me every time I hear that. But let's talk a bit more about that when we come back. The compensation framework as well. We'll also talk about the finance bill and a few other things. Hashtag is Fixing the Nation NTV. We'll be right back.
Absolutely. Scene fixers who are just following the conversation that we are having with our party leader and presidential aspirant, Mother Karua. She's party leader of PLP. Donning the party colors, by the way. Color purple. That's
purple,
that's your party color. Just reading a few comments from fixers here. Kevin Muna saying Uganda is full of dictators, I think, from dad, son, aunt, uncle, even relatives. I don't know whose relatives you're talking about, but okay. Peter Otieno saying Senior Counsel, Honorable Mother Karua, indeed is an Honorable Madam Fixer, smart that she left her devices based on suspicion of contamination. Kevin Muna carried on to say, I pity that man. It's like we're still in the 60s era, I swear. Jimmy Kwan, what's funny is that there was a time when Kenyan lawyers represented Museveni, who go back in 2001.
Yes. That is Dr. John Kaminwa and the Honorable Eugene Wamalwa. Yes.
Back in 2001.
Yes.
Indeed, sometimes power corrupts individuals. Urban Safari saying, morning fixers, on this matter of commemoration, to avoid chaos and disruption, kindly could the leaders communicate guidelines such as routes, venues of gathering and timelines. I think that's very prudent. Welela Collins saying the system is worried. Let people exercise freedoms as outlined in the Constitution. Then we have Staki Mapepe saying, good morning. Mother has always been courageous and I wish her the best in the quest for being part of the next administration if all goes well. Mother is a role model to many courageous girls.
Asante.
Very true. Just before we went on the break, she said something and it reminded me of interviews we've threaded with a lot of people who are fighting for multi-party democracy, Martha included. And I can remember 2 conversations with Wafula Buke, with Cyprian Nyamwamu, and both of them said that what we're living through is worse than what they were fighting in the 90s. And I remember thinking, no, guys,
it can't be that bad. Especially when you grew up in an era of hearing about the torture chambers, where torture and outright violations of people's, outright violations of the law existed.
Yes.
So how is it worse?
And Martha said she agrees.
It is the actions. When you look at the disappearances, the abductions, only last week, a young leader in Mathare was abducted. Every other day there is an abduction. Every other day there is a death in the police cells or at the hands of the police, unlawful use of firearms. And there is an express order by Murkomen of shooting to kill, reinforced by William Ruto, shoot them in the leg, which is another shoot to kill order, considering how Rex Masai died. So I'm saying this is worse. Because other regimes have tried to hide when they are breaking the law. These ones don't, and it's the first time in the history of this country an administration actually builds goons to respond to peaceful demonstrations and openly works with them. It is also, it's become systemic now that every time there is a notice of procession, they will kill people. Imagine the numbers killed during the Azimio protests, which we all tend to overlook in 2023, which go to 100. The number of people killed on June 25th, 2024. The number of people killed last year during commemoration and during Sabasaba. The number of people dying all the time. The abductions. both of Kenyan nationals and of other people living in Kenya. It is just crazy. Look at the things being done. If the Ruto administration was using its energies to serve Kenyans, they would be finding the root cause and a permanent solution to the fires in Gikomba, which have impoverished and hurt so many people. They would not be using their energy to kill and disorganize Kenyans who want to remember or to mourn their loved ones. They would be looking for solutions to the high cost of living. They would be listening to Kenyans, their cries on this punitive tax bill, which was passed the other day. That is what we expect of a government.
Talk to me about the compensation framework that is now being implemented. 2 billion shillings with about 1,000, if I'm not wrong, complaints that either went through IPOA, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, or the police service, and those are the victims being compensated. What are your thoughts on this?
Now, the only body mandated constitutionally to do that work is the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. And you remember the court said so emphatically. And they invited applications, and after sieving through them, they were able to compile a list of about 1,100 people. I now am given to understand, and we have seen from the statements coming from the office of the president, it's like they're the ones going to handle the OP is going to handle the compensation. Which is thoroughly illegal. And I am told that OP has its own list of 1,200. Who is on the list of OP? If the body mandated has not gone through those people, is it that the Ruto administration wants to compensate or to reward, not to compensate, to reward goons who caused the mayhem? Who are they rewarding who have not gone through the machinery established? On one hand, they will say 2 billion for compensation. Who is being compensated and by whom? We need an assurance that all the claims will go through a neutral body, and that neutral body is the Constitutional Commission. It cannot be the police who are the perpetrators. It cannot be the government who are the perpetrators, by the way. And that is why they are compensating, because they are the wrongdoers.
So it's an admission of guilt. It's an admission of guilt on one part,
without
but it
apologizing.
Also,
without an outright apology, without punishing the police who used excessive force, without arresting the known goons who have perpetrated violence, without renouncing violence as a means of stopping dissent. You know, we need to hear that, and that's why the victims are saying we want compensation, yes, but we also want justice.
President Ruto, during the when he was receiving the framework, he did say that there was a lot of people who told him that he should not publicly acknowledge that such violence happened because the ICC is watching. And in his own words, he said, I've chosen to do this because an acknowledgement of the same means these people will be fairly compensated, but without looking at the justice aspect. But he says, a public acknowledgement and ICC in one sentence, it was absolutely diabolical because, again, what does that spell out for his government? That the government actually did sanction this violence against its people.
He's acknowledging he's an ICC candidate and he will end up there for these atrocities. And whether he apologizes, a good leader, even if you're not the perpetrator, you apologize on behalf of your administration because the police are under him. He's the overall head of Kenya. So he doesn't appear to understand his responsibilities. And whether or not he apologizes, the way he acknowledges, there are already petitions at ICC which are undergoing process.
And how far back should we draw this compensation framework? Because we're only looking at 2024, and I'm happy that you've spoken to the victims of the Azimio protests, those 100. And how far back should this compensation framework go? Because if I had my, if I was a victim 10 years ago, then I'm well within my right to go and register with Kenya National Human Rights Commission and say that I am supposed to be compensated.
For William Ruto, he should have compensated people for all excesses during his government. Anybody else with excesses, human rights cases never go stale. You can still do the claim to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, and that will be handled separately. They will present them. I'm sure they would be under our duty to present. You saw that when we got the 2010 Constitution, people suing for excesses that were more than 10 years old. So nobody is stopped from going to court on the violation of their human rights. But this compensation was supposed to be for atrocities under William Ruto. And they go back as far as the Azimio protests. But the Azimio protest victims are not part of the 1,100 that the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights have put together. I think the fact that this tranche is for the Gen Z protest doesn't stop anybody else from taking their claim to be handled separately. We don't stop and wait for others. Let's compensate those that are ready and then keep going. But the most important, shall the police deliberately kill and we keep compensating? We want to see heads rolling. We want to see the senior people are the police who are not giving proper direction. We want to see them sanctions. We want to see individual police officers sanctioned. And we want a statement telling them what the law says and telling them they'll be on their own if they use excessive force. And a majority of police don't kill us, but there are those rogue officers killing us. So we appreciate that they're giving us security. Do not use the firearms we have bought for our security to take away our lives. That's all that we are saying.
What did you mean that there's already processes ongoing at the ICC, or did I get it wrong?
I believe there is a petition, whether from Kenya or from human rights groups across the world. I know there are petitions relating to all three rogue countries, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, individual petitions that are being processed. And I'm so happy Karim Khan, who was Ruto's lawyer, is under suspension.
Yes.
Yeah. That gives us hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get more on that. But I wanted to, when you talk about how much we're spending, for example, 2 billion shillings, and then we might compensate again and again and again. But if there's no criminal culpability, I think we'll just keep finding ourselves in the same place. Now, how do we continue to push for criminal justice, even as these compensation frameworks take foot?
Let's support the victims. They are already verbalizing it with their own mouths, that compensation, yes, but justice. You know? So we must keep pushing as Kenyans for justice, because tomorrow it could be you. When we push for justice and for human rights of the afflicted already, you are actually safeguarding your own rights. And I keep saying, when I was going to fight for Besigye, I was fighting for my rights too, and the rights of fellow East Africans. The right against being abducted in a foreign country or being abducted in Kenya. We are fighting for the protection of our rights. And the kind of impunity that causes abductions is the same impunity that is causing abuse of your resources and the suffering Kenyans are undergoing. It's the same impunity that is causing them to abuse management for health and for Kenyans to miss access to health. While contractors for shadowy contractors are being paid billions, a small bill for a Kenyan cannot be paid and a majority cannot access. The same with education. We must link these things and know that impunity affects us in more ways than we know. A government that kills, that does not respect life and does not respect its citizens, will not respect your property, your resources, and we'll use them as though they are personal.
There's a question that we have here, even as we talk about the compensation framework, and it's from KM5663, asking, please ask Martha what she thought of the presence of the Chief Justice at the presentation of the compensation framework.
It is okay to be present, but it is good to look at the context. And the independence of the judiciary is protected when the judiciary does not become a permanent feature on state functions,
Yeah.
which it is not necessary for them to appear. When compensation is not voluntary, one goes to court. And it is at that stage that the judiciary is invoked.
Yeah.
So becoming an appendage, looking like an appendage of the executive is not a thing you commend for the judiciary. They should refrain as much as possible. And there are incidents, if it's multi-agency, where in the past we have seen representation other than at the highest level. So it's a question of discretion, to use discretion, because justice is about also appearances. It must not only be done, but must be seen to be done.
Correct.
So also the independence of the judiciary should also be about appearance and the real. So never to appear like the appendage of the executive. I
want to get into matters, finance bill and politics now. And yesterday we saw 186 absences in Parliament. On Friday, 186 absences while the finance bill vote was going on, which speaks to me about people who are afraid. They probably wanted to vote yes, but they didn't want to be seen to vote yes, so they stayed away.
It's having no stand.
186 of them, which is more than the number who voted, which is 162. And there were 40 no's, 122 yeses. Paint me a picture, or I'm trying to think of 2027, a Martha Karua presidency. If it so happens it's a Martha Karua presidency, but not a PLP parliament. And you have the same people by and large who are in parliament right now coming back to the house.
God forbid. Kenyans must choose wisely. Yes.
How I'm trying to the choice here, if we make the mistake of not changing parliament up, then we find ourselves in the same position. What would a Martha Karua presidency look like if a house is captured?
I think the first thing is to explain to Kenyans that they have a say in who goes to parliament. Sio kubahatisha. You must be very, very careful. Electing, not just the president. Start with your MCA, start at your door. The county government, that's the MCA and the governor. Choose people who have demonstrated that they're people-centered, that they respect the voter, and they will respect prioritize the needs of the voter. Number two, there is no excuse for being absent during the finance bill. Everybody knew. You don't just wait for the day of the vote. You knew the discussion was on. Your voice was needed. And your vote was needed. I was a member of parliament for 20 years. I could cut short a trip abroad if there's a crucial vote in parliament. I could cut short a trip abroad if I had a date, just a mere date with my constituents. Even a Harambee date, a date I have committed, I'll come back. I'll leave whatever I was doing, I'll come back. And when going, I'll look at my diary, I know when I must come back. Going abroad is not compulsory. Staying in those meetings is not your key duty. Your key duty is as a legislator for policy and for lawmaking. Your key duty. At a time Kenyans are crying, how dare you be absent? Some are absent within the country. Some are absent without, outside the country. It's the same thing.
Right.
Short of sickness, you have no other excuse being out of parliament. So I would tell Kenyans, take issue with those who voted yes on a bill that will inflict pain on you. Take issue also with those who absented themselves in order to look good. They too have stabbed you in the back because they were not there when you needed them. And a captured parliament, I would never capture parliament. You must let parliament be independent. I remember when I retreated to become a backbencher in the Kibaki regime when I resigned on principle, parliament was vibrant and it was a grand coalition government. Yet the backbench could sanction the government they were serving. We were able to force ministers to step aside. We were able to alter the laws they proposed. We were able to modify policy to ensure that it fitted. And it was a grand coalition parliament, meaning the grand coalition government had a majority. Parliament was independent, and members of parliament showed independence. They were not like the parliamentarians who go to boast in parliament that we have passed this for you, Mr. President. You brought the finance bill, we passed for you. I think that was Ochieng of Uganda saying that in parliament. And members were thumping because they resonated. They know they have done it together. You're not in parliament to vote for Ruto. You are voted by the people of Kenya. You are there to be faithful to the vote of the people of Kenya. But when you behave as an appendage of the executive, we lose the institution. I can say without fear of contradiction that we last had a parliament that was vibrant, the 10th parliament, the last Kibaki parliament. The rest, even during Uhuru time, parliament has remained a rubber stamp. There are few members of parliament who have distinguished themselves as faithful people's defender. Faithful means you talk in parliament and you vote. Faithful means not talking in funerals. I can talk in a funeral, you can. Anybody can talk in a church.
True.
But I can't go to parliament unless if I'm a member of parliament. That is the hallowed ground where your views will be recorded for posterity, where we hear you live. If you don't speak in parliament, you have not answered to your mandate. And people who don't speak in parliament, voters should be very reluctant to put them back. And who do not vote the way they speak.
I was going to say, these 186 who were absent from parliament, reading into it, they are people at a crossroads. They don't want to repeat the mistake of 2024 because they saw what happened. But they also are very beholden either to their parties, their party leaders, or whether it's the broad-based government, the executive, the president, whoever it is, they're beholden. So they're sort of at a crossroads. How do Kenyans send a message to them that they should be beholden to Kenyans, not to party leader, executive, all the other, what do they call them? Chains.
Yes.
Through their interaction. You remember during the Gen Z protests, the Gen Zs had managed to whip people to order. Even Harambes halted for a while. It's an indication, dear Kenyans, that actually you have the power to shape leaders. You have the power to elect the best to serve you. Please don't do a disservice to yourself. Your vote is your life, is your everyday life. It's your today, it's your tomorrow. Please, do yourself a favor. Get yourself leaders you deserve. Look at the track record of every leader. Those who have served before, look at our track records. Those who are serving and those who have not served, everybody has a history even in their village. You will know who are pro-people, who are not. And do not elect people who have a track record of wrongdoing, like you did in 2022. Because if they had looked at track record, there's no way William Ruto or many people in his government would have gotten it.
Yesterday we had the MP of Manyata here, and we're just looking at, Mokonji.
Yes.
And looking at the numbers that missed the vote, 186. And the question is it then that we need to make it more over 2/3 voting for the finance bill and not the majority? Because then if we leave it to the majority, then if the attendance in the House is 70, we'll still go with the majority, and yet that is not adequate quorum or representation of the entirety of the House. 346 is a big number. Is it a good thought?
It's a good thought, but let us not go anywhere towards constitutional amendment. Let us not go there. It is not the law that is making people misbehave. It is their character. It is their disconnection with the suffering of the people. Let us look for people-centered people. In the 10th Parliament, we performed even before the Constitution was passed in 2010. In fact, that's why we passed a Constitution for the people. If it was this Parliament, they would pass a Constitution for William Ruto. If it were not for this Constitution that is allowing us to apply brakes to the downhill trend to smother all the freedoms in Kenya, we would not be where we are. So it is possible. It's not about change of laws. It's about electing people who can perform. And for Kenyans themselves, not to equate leadership with money. It's not who gives you most money.
Yeah.
In fact, leaders are not supposed to give you money at all. They're supposed to open the environment, create a conducive environment.
For you
get
to make
money for yourself.
Yes.
I keep reminding people, Kibaki never called people to State House to give them handouts.
Yeah.
Kibaki did not go to do harambes for you in church. If he went, it was far between. But the good of his government, his reorganization of the economy, that warmth came to your kitchen because you were able to have food. You were able to get the results of the work of your hands. A leader doesn't need to give you money. They just need to work for you faithfully.
True. And those fruits of free education are the ones today
we are destroying today.
Very, very true. Let's take a short break, but when we come back, we'll talk about opposition politics. There was a formula that Martha had talked about as to pick an opposition candidate.
My views.
Yes, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Hashtag is Fixing the Nation NTV. We'll be right back after this.
Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen has clarified that dealing with criminals and goons is the responsibility of the National Police Service, not the government as an institution. Speaking during a television interview, Murkomen said the police are mandated to investigate crimes, make arrests, and maintain law and order. He stressed that security operations must be conducted within the framework of the law and under the authority of the NPS. The remarks come amid heightened public debate of the handling of criminal gangs and violence witnessed during recent demonstrations. Murkomen reiterated the government's commitment to supporting security agencies in maintaining public order while safeguarding citizens' rights. I want to get a reaction from you, Martha, on that, because this is a clear stance.
He is wrong, and I'll call him my learned junior, Kipchumba Murkomen. He is wrong in trying to separate police from government. They are an independent government institution, but with his own mouth, as the minister in charge of internal security, he has given an illegal order of shoot to kill. Then he goes ahead and calls police independent. He's not countermanding because he's responsible for policy. Correct. And their policy is shoot to kill. So he has misdirected them on policy. And the performance of all institutions of government is part of the performance of that government. He cannot delink himself. But yes, give them their independence and stop misdirecting them on policy.
It's that outright delinking of our national government to the National Police Service. And we'll keep threading on this. I hope we're able to have the National Police Service spokesperson come and also just layer on that conversation.
It's an arm of government. It's not really an arm in the way the judiciary is. It's an institution under government. Because government gives the policy direction.
Correct.
And if they mislead, then it is followed. Correct. We have seen the shoot to kill order followed.
Okay. I wanted to get into a little bit of opposition politics now. And we last had you here last year and discussed, you know what, as we draw closer and closer to the election, we need a way to find out who is the best possible opposition candidate and to be able to put them to the test and have some guidelines. How have we made progress on that? And are we getting closer to realizing if this is
smoke?
The white smoke.
We have not made progress because we have not sat together to approve a raft of steps we must take to arrive at the candidate. We keep on talking about the retreat. We've talked about it since last year. We've talked about it since February. We're still waiting for that. So when I give my views of what should happen, it's my views. And others have given their views before. And I've said repeatedly, among the methods we must use must be scientific multiple polling. Why? Because if you retreat to a boardroom and come out with a candidate without reference to the populace, you may end up getting a candidate who doesn't resonate with the people. The people's views count. And because we are not going to go to a nationwide election. There is a way of gauging the people's views. And I keep saying, even in Azimio, when they subjected us to interview for running mate, polling was one of the methods used. So there can't be one method, there can be several parameters. But I say among them, there ought to be, there should be, perhaps there must be scientific polling, because which other way shall we gauge the mood of the public all over the country?
Correct.
We are not looking for a village chief or a regional chief. We are looking for a person Kenyans can resonate with, and that's the way to win. It's for our sake. Whoever becomes the flag bearer, collectively we want to be able to give Kenyans a better government.
Correct.
And the pledge is to surrender to whoever gets to be the flag bearer. Kenyans have to be part of it, and I keep saying, don't tell us to get one among us. Help us. Show us what you want.
Which one?
I'm actually
Ours
curious.
is to campaign and to put ourselves forward. Yours is to do the selection.
I'm curious on how the polls, the opinion polls that are frequently done, how they would feed into the scientific
Those
formula.
ones will not count.
They don't
Remember, some of us, like me, I'll speak for myself, I just started campaigning. I haven't campaigned. I've gone just to a few counties. So we all must have that opportunity to present ourselves. And it's too early to settle on a candidate. There's no election. The election comes later. So this is a time for parties to get their membership. There are those who started earlier, those of us who are starting, and at an appropriate time, that is part of the retreat. Agreeing what is the most appropriate time of announcing, of getting a candidate and announcing. And those who are yet to finalize, moving around the country, like me will be saying, there's no election. We need to do it towards the end of the year.
There's also the question of the person who polls highest scientifically, how do I say this, might not be the best. In terms of, we see where we are with the current administration. We don't want to walk into the same thing or worse. And then there could be
substituting one Kasongo for another.
Yeah, basically. What happens in
I
that
get
case?
what you're saying. And that's why we are telling Kenyans, your voice counts. And because the pain is on all of us, and we are agreeing that we do not want to substitute one Kasongo for another, look at us and our backgrounds carefully. And we are not the only candidates, because the other candidates are around, and the others who will declare. Give us the very best. And this is for all the seats, but also particularly for the presidency when it comes to a united candidate for the opposition. But for all the seats, I'm of the view we should present one candidate. But it is possible to do joint nominations for all the seats from governor downwards.
And what sort of like power sharing agreement would we be looking at? Because then that has always been, again, a contentious issue, that everybody wants a seat. So you've picked your presidential candidate and the running mate. What happens to the other principals? Where do they sit within government as it looks right now?
There has to be a formula of how to arrive at that. And again, a criteria. Because we must match skills with the tasks ahead. Those are things subject for discussion, so I cannot give with certainty.
But would not be creating positions that are not existing at the moment in the Constitution would not have that.
For positions that are not in the Constitution, or for an amendment to accommodate leaders. We should fit, it's not the job description, it's not the title. It is how you perform. You can be just a cabinet secretary. You don't have to be prime, but your work can be so prime that we need not say it. So I wouldn't go for any amendment. I wouldn't go for positions that are not there, even if I were not the flag bearer.
But there's also the issue of time. We're approaching August, and in August will be exactly a year to the elections. I know there's also not wanting to come out too early, and of course give the president and the current government time to respond. But at what point will also Kenyans get the chance to see the united opposition as united and fielding one candidate, whether it's for presidency or across the board? it's also a matter of time?
I think closer to the elections.
Okay.
4-5 months to the elections. For me, it's past December.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
that is subject to discussion because I'm not the one, whatever. And none of us should present as though they are the one. We do not have any leader. I hear the media saying the so and so led. We lead our parties. I'm not led by anybody. For instance,
fair enough.
Yeah,
and
we are principles, core principles. Yeah, I would not take it kindly to anybody to tell me I'm led by another. We are competitors.
Correct.
And we are collegial, and we respect each other.
Maybe the language needs to change.
So may you refrain from calling us led by somebody. I'm not led.
The faction led by that's
I'm
usually
I'm leading PLP, and I'm a member. And last time I checked, co-convener of the United Opposition together with my brother, Kalonzo Musyoka. And even then, we do not lead. We just convene. Because we are leading equals.
In 2002, how close to the election were we able to get this NAC
candidate?
Or the Grand Coalition.
Yes, barely 2 months before. It was October 14th. Around October 14th when Raila said Kibaki Tosha. And from then it was whatever. The elections were in December. So November, December. Less than 60 days.
Wow.
6 months. I mean, 2 months. Okay. What's a deal breaker for you within this united opposition? Is there anyone or anything that would have you leave the united opposition?
I think I don't want to think of a deal breaker. I want to think of the need, dire need, to rescue ourselves as Kenyans from suffering, to rescue our nation. I'm looking at Uganda, where I was yesterday. I'm looking at Tanzania. Fellow Kenyans, do we want to go there? We must rescue ourselves. The danger that we face of descending to where it may take us decades to come from is so dire that I would put my ambitions behind the needs of Kenya. So I do not see a deal breaker for me. We will do the best we can. And that's what people did in 2002. I don't think it's everybody who was immediately happy with the Raila Tosha, with the Kibaki Tosha remark. I do not think, and I want to applaud my brother, my twin brother Kalonzo. I don't think it was easy for him when I was named running mate. But he shelved his ambitions for Kenya. That is the kind of sacrifice that we need. And I am with core principles who I see their level of patriotism is such that it will happen. And I'm seeing even candidates who are not yet under that, whatever, whether it's Linda Mwananchi, looking at what they say. I think it is agreed by a majority of Kenyans that we must have unity of purpose. That is not optional. We must. And we really must work hard towards it. None of us should make any statements that jeopardize that. Let us adopt collegial decision making, not personalized. Personalized is a danger to the collectivity. And remember, even in government, we will have to work together. So if we start traits that can break that unity, it doesn't augur well for Kenya.
Absolutely. And if you're picked as a running mate?
No, you know, running mate, you cannot just be picked. You have to be requested. And I have already said I'm done with being a running mate. If I'm not the flag bearer, let me support. Let me be somewhere in government. We can talk about that, but not necessarily running mate.
It's a very clear stance.
And I will campaign as vigorously, even without being a running mate. Yes.
2 quick questions. One is, if there's any, I know there's still the meetings happening and hopefully this conference, the young question and ensuring that young people are represented on the United Opposition ticket. Is there any sort of thinking towards that? And have you, do you have anything concrete? Is there a guarantee, or is it how the wind will sway?
All our parties have young people in their composition, and speaking for the People's Liberation Party, my neck the elder. Others, and I have a lot of Gen Z, including my Secretary General, who is still a youth, and many other leaders. So I'm saying we are practicing it now. We are not saying, wait, when we get to government, we include you. They will be in the decision-making table, even in those bargain of how the opposition is going to be, the joint opposition is going to share out. They'll be right there. Because the youth of this country are the wenye nchi. Sisi ni wananchi. Because we are here and we are outgoing. They are here today and tomorrow. So they are the real owners of the nation. And they are the real people who are feeling the weight of the wrong things that are done. The weight of joblessness, the weight of abductions, killings by police, the weight of lack of access to health when they are at the childbearing age and they are raising families. Some are not even able to get families because of being excluded from the economy. They are well educated. We have educated them. It is their time to build the nation. So any government, they are not just people waiting for tokenism. They'll be part of that arrangement. They'll be decision makers.
Okay. Final question, when do the campaigns start for the United Opposition? I'll say that because William Ruto is campaigning every day. Any chance he gets, wakes up campaigns. And then recently I saw you addressing, was it a rumor or a question about, Martha has been missing from the United Opposition. And you addressed it and, and said no. But then it sometimes feels like with the United Opposition, we see silence and then some energy and verve and then some silence, while on the other hand the person you're hoping to face is on the ground all day every day.
Maximizing any opportunity.
Give us some pat on the back. The United Opposition without structures has managed to galvanize the country to one term. The opposition to the current government is at the highest. People have people's minds are moving together towards a new dispensation, a new leadership. That is a great feat. Correct. But that doesn't mean we should lower the standards. Yes, we may not all be out there campaigning together, but everybody is somewhere saying things that align with what the others are saying. You should expect to see us together, but also to see us individually. A party cannot go to seek for, to expand its membership and look for candidates with others in tow. We are competitors in terms of friendly fire. So there are those we will go alone. And every party has gone alone and does its things alone. And I say, why is it so noticeable when Martha Karua does it, others are doing it, you're not asking them? Have you ever, for instance, asked my brother Gachagua? He's been on his campaigns alone in many places, including Kirinyaga. Have you asked Matiang'i? He's been in many places alone and with his party chair, without others. Have you asked Wamalwa? Have you asked Kalonzo? Have you asked Muturi? Why are the questions coming to Martha Karua? I want to tell you without blinking. I will lead my party to get its share of membership, its share of supporters all over Kenya, unashamedly, while still remaining a loyal member of the United Opposition. And it's not necessary. I go everywhere. My colleagues go.
Absolutely. I know she had asked to be released at 8:20. But I want you to answer one thing as our Akili. You get one term of 5 years. Is it enough for you to complete your work, set the agenda and work? And this I'm building up of something the Deputy President said.
One thing, nobody will ever complete the work of nation building. You do the best you can within the time available. 5 years is enough to lay the foundation, and you let somebody else come and finish it. We remember President Kibaki. Most of the things we remember him is about first term. The second term had its own difficulties, including corruption and impunity. It is the first term. And I was very disheartened to hear my learned junior, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President, saying that the Constitution talks of 2 terms. The Constitution gives 2 terms as the limit. It doesn't tell you to be elected. That decision belongs to the people. You don't perform We don't want to know about your projects and finishing them. If you're a mess, go with your mess. Let somebody else come and clean up.
Yeah.
So Professor Kindiki, a law professor, and my learned junior, was being economical with the truth. And it is very sad for him to mislead Kenyans that the Constitution makes it mandatory, because that's the impression he gave.
Yes.
For Ruto to be elected a second term.
Yeah.
Kenyans, the Constitution gives you the power to remove this pain from your necks. And not just for William Ruto, for any non-performing leader from your MCA all the way up to William Ruto. And for me as Martha Karua, I am seeking a single term because we must get people used to leadership being transient.
Yes.
And that being elected doesn't give you a title deed over Kenya. We are not a plantation where you say, this is my lease for 5 years.
Yeah.
We can throw you out even the first day. And I believe William Ruto was thrown out by the Gen Zs. That really was a referendum against him. If he respected the people, he would have resigned. In mature democracies, you have seen Keir Starmer resigning in UK.
Yes.
We saw Tambo Beki because South Africa is a mature democracy.
Yeah.
If you respect the people, you would hear their voice. I would seek only 5 years, lay the foundation. It is enough time to do things that are significant, give way to another. And I think Kenya is ripe for a series of one-term presidents, just to get that and to remove the idea of people of extension of terms. Africa needs that badly. Look at Uganda with one president for 40 years. We must really get out of that in Africa and many other African countries, including neighboring Rwanda. We need, even if you are good, give room. We may get a better idea. Groom somebody. Groom doesn't mean groom your family, groom your son. There are many other leaders. Groom them. Let Kenyans, if by happen chance, a relative of yours is chosen, is because Kenyans want. The way the Bushes were chosen, Bush the father and Bush the son. I don't think that he forced it. The party, he was elected through the party. So nobody is stopped, not even your relative. But do not impose people on others, and do not impose yourself. And I would never impose myself upon Kenyan.
Right. A final question here. Someone was alluding to what you talked about earlier, which would, if you are president in 2027 going forward, how will the relationship be between Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania?
Yeah, that's a good one. I would remember that the people of Tanzania and the people of Uganda are not our enemies. It's the leadership that has adopted wrong policies. And because our countries must coexist, I would open those channels. You do not personalize the state.
Correct.
I would open channels, despite wrongdoing to me.
Right. Just a few comments as we go, but thank you so much, Martha, for spending the morning with us. Enan Gitau says the equalizer for the united opposition is Maraga because frontrunners have been in government in one way or another. Do you that idea that anyone who has been in government should not seek term again?
I think all of us, including Maraga, he has been in an arm of government called judiciary. Judge us by a track record in the places we've been. Let everybody tell Kenyans what was the highest achievement where they were. Let us compete. Competition is healthy, but that's a good view. There are others who will think it should be Martha Karua. There are others who will think it should be Kalonzo. That is why I'm saying at one stage we must have scientific polling, not boardroom decisions. And there are many people who are capable, and whoever Kenyans give, and whatever criteria we give should be backed by the rest. And I'm ready to do that.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That is presidential aspirant and PLP party leader, Martha Karua, senior counsel as well. And we've been discussing a lot of what has happened over the past actually 24 hours, in Uganda, as well as opposition politics, the finance bill, and the commemoration of June 25th. We see your feedback. A lot of people saying Viva, Love Martha, Iron Lady. Also, someone asking about a meeting where Azimio said Ruto will not last for 3 months in government. I'm not sure what that's. I'm not sure what that is. Was there such an Azimio meeting?
I do not recall.
But a few other comments, of course, the white smoke will be seen soon, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But a massive thank you to all of you for fixing and for keeping us well informed, and for, of course, giving us your feedback. And a massive thank you to Martha as well. We'll take a short break.
Thank you, ladies. This was an all-lady panel. Thank you very much. It's rare and it's lovely.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you for gracing us.
We'll take a short break, but when we come back, we'll be talking about child safety with a child protection officer, given the recent spate of kidnappings and children going missing, as well as what it takes to keep our children safe. That's our conversation in the next half hour. We'll be right back.